everybody, today is Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. This is Rob from York Meadow Farm, standing down here at the edge of the road. And the reason for that is we just had a big gully washer today, and there's no better time than the present to take a look at the water situation here on the farm. So today we're going to take a look at the driveway. We're then going to head up, take a look at the high tunnel, and then after that we're going to walk back by the cabin and the pond and take a look at the water situation back there. So let's go check it out. All right, so standing here at the edge of the road, you can see that we've got enough water flow that we've actually got a little bit of a river here at the edge of the driveway. And if we take a look up, if we take a look up the driveway, we can see more water flow. And over the years, due to the way in which the driveway was constructed, we've actually had more erosion at this area of the driveway than we did when the driveway was initially constructed, due to the fact that there were 3 areas of drain tile in these fields that were previously farmed that were cut but never repaired by the guy that installed the driveway. And as we take a look over here, all the water from the bulk of this field drains into our land, as well as the fields to the east. And we'll take another look at this in just a minute, but as you can see, the driveway here is the low point, and it collects all of the water that drains onto our property, which basically runs from that tree line to the edge of that field over there. All right, as we get up and are walking past the high tunnel here and heading back up the driveway, we are approaching one of, if not the highest spot in this front parcel. And although it is the highest spot, what's unique about this little area right here is that it's a little swale between this field to the east and this field over here to the west, which you can't really see due to the growth, but what we can see here is a little swale or a little culvert, and that drains across the driveway here through this swale and beyond into the neighbor's field. And as you can see, there's the field there, it's grass down there, and it runs into Mallet Creek. And as we continue walking up here, I'll share a little detail with you about Mallet Creek. Mallet Creek is part of the Rocky River Watershed, and York Meadow Farm here is a property that is located in the Rocky River Watershed as well. We are the first property, or rather the first property next to the property where Mallet Creek actually runs through. Now, again, we've got some dead trees and a bit of a clearing here. So this is a 30-acre field, probably 15 or 20 of which drain into our property, and a lot of the neighboring property beyond the blueberries that's farmed conventionally in wheat, beans, and soy also drains into our property. And when we get up here through the clearing, we'll take a look at the pond, we'll take a look at the cabin and the barn briefly, and we'll see where all of the water ends up after a big gully washer. All right, as we approach the clearing up here, what we've got is another low point from the fields just beyond there, draining down below into here, running across and through the driveway. And as you can hear, We won't really be able to see, but maybe we can get a look down there. But as you can see and hear, there's been a lot of water from the rain. And let's keep walking up towards the barn. Let's keep walking up towards the cabin. And we'll see what the situation is over there by the pond. Okay, we are approaching the cabin and the barn. And as you can see, there is the pond. Looking a little brown and silty from all the runoff in the fields. But that's how it is. We don't have any aeration in the pond at this time. And it is about an acre in size. Just walking by a little apple tree right there. We should have some fruit, as a matter of fact. We've got some apples coming on right now, so those should be tasty when the season is right. But as we're walking down here towards the spillway, let's take a look and see how much water is actively flowing through the spillway. Okay, we've still got a lot of water movement through here, but what we're seeing is far less water than what was running through here just 15 minutes ago before I decided to grab the camera. Now, right about there is, you can see some of the rocks down in here, and those rocks actually continue on and then go back this way, and there are some drains. I suspect they're clogged right now, but the water is overflowing into the grass beyond. You can hear it as it flows through the woods, and from here we can get a better perspective as the water flows through the woods. Let's see if we can't zoom in there. So we've got a lot of water that's moving beyond the spillway, that's overflowing the spillway. And this is the first time we've ever seen water movement like this on the property. Let's take another look from a different angle and see where else water spills into the Mallet Creek watershed. So we're back here beyond this little patch of woods, beyond the cabin and the barn in the distance, and all of the water from this field to the north of the septic tank drains down towards me, down into here. And we've, over the past 10 years or so, the water is drained to the point where there's been the formation and erosion of what's effectively a little creek. There's water movement through here, and it is enough that it's caused quite the erosion. And there's actually another small little creek right here. It's a little more difficult to see, but I assure you it is there, and it's just something that is going to be addressed at some point in the future when all this gets turned into a food forest. And what we are doing, and we'll get to that in a minute, as you can see the food forest in its infancy there in the distance. The food forest over there was created utilizing a keyline type of design element that is capturing all of the water from the area by the barn as much as possible into one swale that is built on contour, and the next subsequent swale, the one right in front of us, is 20 feet from that. And eventually there will be a third swale right here. I actually tilled this up but did not complete that because there was no need to at this time. A fourth, a fifth, and maybe a sixth one. And at this point right here, next to the septic mound, this is another high point where water collects, and then we'll develop another series of swales for the food forest 2.0 back there before the water continues draining into the watershed. So we're coming up on the very first swale, and what we've got here is just a various collection of plants that I've accumulated over the past few years. But what's important to notice is that this swale is full, and it's not the optimal conditions for the elderberry right there, but the other plants in here, the hazelnuts, the chestnuts, the sea berries, other species of elderberries, the goji berries, the josta berries, and the raspberries seem to be doing quite well. This little area is a mistake. Growing back, I tilled it too much. Now this area, this swale is not on contour, but you can see that it is filling up quite nicely after a heavy rain. Some areas are filling up more than others because, again, this one isn't on contour, but it's been designed in a way that as it fills, it can spill over into the next series of subsequent swales. So that's it for the water situation here. Oh, also one thing that's worth pointing out, we'll take another look back here, but as we approach the barn, there's a little burn barrel back there, and that's just a temporary place for that, because one thing that's worth noting, and we'll get over here and take a little closer look at all of this so we can get an idea of what's going on, is that the water from the barn drains into the gutters, downspout, and back here. Now, this area, as you can see, is quite wet, and eventually all of this water from the barn is going to be captured, and we will end up installing a little pond right here, and the pond will eventually serve as the primary water capture and irrigation system for these swales, with a simple swing valve into this and another swing valve into the second swale, and so on and so forth, for ease of irrigation in the future. So that's where we're at with water here on the farm. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to catching you on the next one. See you next time.